Hello and welcome to another installment of Comparative Reasoning. We're your host, Sedrik, Sidra, and this is from Twitter to you. This isn't a viral thing that happened. No, this is me getting into a Twitter battle. I got into a fight incurring the wrath of a very popular YouTube hostess or host. She's probably non-binary. I can't remember what she has said, but this would be Bianca, which it annoys me because I love the name, and usually she comes from a good place. Yeah, she's atheist and things like that. It's a lot. My job ain't to bury her or anything. That's not my goal. But I can't do what I had done because now it's like the conversation seems to be over, which is good because all I had left was retaliation instead of backpedaling and begging off. I try to handle people as if they're right there in front of me when I'm dealing with them. That's how I try to do it. I don't always succeed in that, but typically that's how I try. But just to let you know, Bianca, you can follow her on Twitter at Author Confusion. It says here, host of How to Skeptic, Talk Heathen and Secular Sexuality. She's a writer, editor, activist. She's creating an inclusive atheist community. She refers to herself as plural. She's they or them. So she's plural. That's what she is. And yeah, when I was growing up, that was taught as plural. So what happened was it popped up on my Twitter while I was about to close out. I'd seen all the wrestling stuff I cared to. I switched over to my Comparative Reasoning account, and I wanted to see if Sunny Secular had said anything, and then look and see what was viral, and if I could, that's basically me just messing around when I report on the stuff that's what's happening in that area. So for this, I see her name. I'm like, yeah, okay, Bianca. And she goes, what the fuck? And I'm like, okay. I'm like, all right, let me see what this is. I'll say my 2 cents and then be about. So at the bottom it says, she goes, oh, what the fuck? And then Chase Strangio, at Chase Strangio. Matter of fact, get this shit up here on, because I'm doing the wrong thing here. Put it up here on Twitter, right here for you to see. All right, click this, click interact, blows it up for me. So this person says, this bill in Texas, SB 1646, would remove trans kids from their homes if a parent affirms their gender, and then says truly barbaric. So if a parent says my child is a non-binary, or my child identifies as male or female, and I respectfully acknowledge my child as that, then the child can be removed from the home of the parents. Keep in mind, this is clearly just saying my child identifies as this. This is what my child wants to identify as, and we'll go through the steps to do so in their own means, and I am supporting that and respecting it. That's far worse than teaching racism and bigotry and misogyny. That's far worse than saying it's okay to allow a power grid to go out and then charge exorbitant amount of prices, kicking them practically out of their homes or making them freeze to death as children have done. Don't forget the parents do too. The parent die and the child lives, then how's the child gonna take care of himself, or herself? So no one thinks about that. That's truly okay. But respecting your child's identity is just too much. So in any case, I wrote, solution, leave Texas. Thought it was simple, right?
I don't like it.
Okay. Her response was, kids can't, not safely. And one of her cult members decided to, give a like to that. And I say cult members because that's sort of what happens with YouTube popularity. I've noticed, and it kind of, when I realized that this year, it kind of scared me a lot. The cheerleaders, they're practically cultists. It's scary. So I just call them cultists, which Dusty Smith does properly by saying cult of Dusty, and Jim Cornette, cult of Cornette, because he knows they know how it goes. They know how it rolls. So they just don't BS about it. So I wrote, I admit, I am in a bubble. Though very low on the financial scale, most people move from place to place like it's nothing. Can you explain how it's not safe for kids to move out of state in the video and link me to it? I can't see cops at the border checking gender alignments. So I'm not trolling. I'm not even logic trolling. And logic trolling, everybody has a code, okay? When logic trolling, you cannot insult, you cannot be snarky, you can't do any of that. You're not even trying to get a rise out of them. You are asking a legitimate question, and your question needs to be able to, if answered properly and decently, able to even sway you if it's applicable to anything that could change your mind. So logic trolling, you have to be 100% honest and open. But I'm not even doing that. I'm not even attempting that. It's just, here's a solution. Let's roll. That's me. And it threw me off to say kids can't, not safely. And I'm like, why can't, why can't their parents just pick up and move with them? What's wrong with that? They do it here all the time. So then she says, if a kid runs away from home, the police brings them back. If they don't, they could get trafficked, end up homeless, etc. My first thought was, wait, what?
Why would she automatically assume that you mean that the kids should just move out of Texas? How is that rational? How is that rational to assume that someone means for the children to move out of Texas?
You're 12, you're a boy, but you identify as a girl. And through some modicum means you take the steps to do as such. Dressing, portrayal, or just living your life, but just not in a traditional boy manner, whichever it is. And you're like, you know what? I don't like what the cops are doing. I don't like this new thing that's going to happen. So screw you, mom and dad, anyone taking care of me. I'm out. Peace. I'm going to run away. No vehicle, no money, no nothing. She assumed I meant that. That's not rational.
No, it's not.
So I said, I think I miscommunicated. See, I didn't even want to put it on her. I put that on me. I think I miscommunicated. When I said leave Texas, I was in the mindset of the whole applicable family leaving. Trans child plus parents, siblings, and whomever else lives with them. Leaving alone was not in my mind. The goal is safely getting to safety. I don't find anything wrong with that. I don't. So she responded with, still, the idea that a family with a trans child has to flee from a U.S. state in order to stay together is not something I'm going to fucking settle for. I'm like, whoa, okay. Because I've heard her, and I've heard her say lines like this. And normally when she say lines like this, she's pretty damn upset. Okay, now I can't thoroughly infer or confirm that she was pissed off, but she won't cursing at all until then. And so I wrote, I'm not the enemy here. I find so much wrong with the U.S. The South and the Deep South are massive problems that won't go away. No collective can remove the racism and bigotry that leads to innocent deaths from these places. It is safer to remove the harmless from the harmful. No, is it safer to remove the harmless from the harmful? That was 13 hours ago. It's Thursday. If she's doing a show, it's something else, but there's nothing stopping her from responding. So either she's blocked me or she has her elitist cap on and she's like, I'm not going to bother with that. I'm not going to deal with that. Or she probably checked out my YouTube channel and saw that I only have like 230 some, well, probably 35 at that time subscribers, and was like, well, he don't have enough subscribers to even worry me. So if he did want to talk trash or something like that, then I'm not bothered. You know, I've noticed that people have an elitist mindset. You know, when you feel like you're above others or you don't have to deal with others because they're somehow inferior in some form or manner, or you engage in a conversation and where you might have messed up, but now you don't want to respond because now you don't realize where you might have messed up. You know, and I can admit where my faults were. Maybe I should have been a little bit clearer, you know, throughout the whole thing. But I didn't think I would have to really spell out that children's parents would be moving with them. I didn't think I had to spell that out.
Let me interject for a moment.
Please.
Just so I can make sure my thought is clear before I speak. Can you reread the last line she said?
The whole last line or the final piece of it?
I guess the final piece of it.
Okay, not something I'm going to fucking settle for.
Okay, now read the whole thing.
Okay. Still, the idea that a family with a trans child has to flee from a U.S. state in order to stay together is not something I'm going to fucking settle for.
Okay. So, I have a different take on this.
Okay.
My take
That's why you're here.
My take is that the venom that she issues in this statement is not at you. It's at what initially caused her to go, what the fuck? Because the sheer idea that a child that identifies as trans, the parents like, yep, my child is trans, they identify this way.
And the cops say,
nope, we got to take you out the home.
Because you've confirmed your child's identity as not what we say it should be. You're going to be separated from your child. And
okay, that whole thing is bullshit.
Yes, it is.
So fleeing from that, having to leave a state to avoid that, that is a solution, but that should not be the solution. And I think that's what she's pissed off about. Why she's saying she's not going to let it stand, because granted, yes, it is a solution. You're right. Get the fuck out of the state. Leave Texas in the review. Yes, that's a solution. But nobody should have to pick up and move their entire family because the state is stupid.
Now, here, you know me. I'm combative. I'm naturally combative. I wasn't always like that. I had to become that. This is where you get your culture clashes. Because minorities, they get screwed over in general, by far, in mass. When I say minorities, I'm talking about skin complexion. You can be gay and white and walk around not showing the signs of your same-sex alignment, and you can get away with a lot of stuff. You can even pick up chicks, or if you're a girl, pick up guys. You know, not that you would do anything, but you know, hey. But when you can't hide your skin complexion, that's you got an issue that you have to deal with. And when banks and lawyers and whatnot that are not on your side, that's not going to help you, that's not going to do anything unless they need to see a small profit or see that you are viable to get a gain in general. But if you are, a minority, you have to give back a massive gain. And it's just like that. That's their racism. And they don't even see it. It's unconscious bias, and that's giving them an out, where really I don't really care to give them that out, because these people are too damn old. They've been around too damn long, and they know better. So when black people, Hispanic, Asians and whatnot get screwed over, they usually just got to deal with it. And that's usually what we see. Remember when we was looking for a place to live? Mm-hmm. Remember how there was every home that was being, the people was moving out, it were black people.
Mm-hmm.
Every last one of them. But you didn't see anyone moving in or out of the well-to-do neighborhoods.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't see any white people just, hey, we packing up. No, they were black families. And that's just the areas that we were. That's the areas that she took us. And
because they were in the price range we were looking for.
So when I come across with this, my whole thought, my process is, why can't you just leave? You know what they say, and this is white people saying it, America, love it or leave it, right? Well, okay. They don't like this part of America. They're going to leave this part of America. Since that's how they want to view it, the United States is all of the America, which is exclusionary as hell as it is. So, but that's how I took it. Just leave. And then let's say you want to go on. Also, the thing I thought about was, okay, she don't leave a whole damn state because of this. Here's my arguments. Do it. Leave. If you have hundreds of thousands of people leaving a state, that state is going to lose massive revenue immediately. Every person that leaves a state is roughly that state losing $10,000 to $30,000 a year. Every individual person. So if you got that many people leaving a state, people are going to say, okay, things are getting broke. We don't have the help we used to have. Our infrastructure is starting to drop because the revenue isn't there. What happened? They look at that bill and you got to make a choice. Are you going to keep your bigotry or are you going to change for the better? Or are you going to do what some people do? You say you change, you kill the bill, but then you reword it in a way where once they get back and things get back to normal, you can just change it back or ignore it altogether. Bill of Rights. So leave. But then if you let's say you want to fight, you want to stay and you want to fight, you can't. And the reason I say you can't is because most of these people probably voted Republican anyway. And let's say they didn't. Let's say by just a small percent, 1 or 2%, it was all Democrat. But they were born and bred and raised in this nasty soup. So anything they do where they try to be quote unquote positive is going to come from a toxic viewpoint. So you get your freedom at the cost of an ankle. You get your same-sex marriage at the cost of it's okay to kill you and no one has to bat an eye. It's going to come from some toxic thing. So if you fight and you're going to have to change how you vote. You're going to have to change who you vote for because you can't vote for Democrat. You can't vote for Republican because they have both proven in Texas and other places that nothing is going to change. So that's why I say that it's easier to leave and have them deal with the consequences that none of you will be there. And then if you got people that say, look, they're leaving because they want to feel safe and they're tired of your bigotry, then they're going to leave too. Because they also want their friends and their friends' kids to be safe. And some of them are like, I just can't deal with this. I got to leave with them. I don't want to lose my friend, or this is the final straw of Texas or whichever state. And whatever state they go to is going to pick up that revenue. That's when states become an open challenge to each other. That's when states become competitive. That's when states are like, well, you know what? People are starting to leave. we need these new state laws that allow this or not allow that. Come here, it's safe for you. Come here, there's more money for you. Come here, there's safe spaces. We're not gonna hurt you. We're not gonna lie on you. We're gonna be kind to you. That's how we're going to be. And you get states that compete for that mess. So leave. But the thing is, she lives, or at least frequents, Austin, Texas. So for Villa Bianca, it might be personal. Like if they leave, then they're leaving me. I'm not gonna leave. But here's the thing: why, for those that actually stayed this long to listen, because I know this is long. I thought, of all people that I've seen pop up, I thought Villa Bianca would definitely understand what I'm saying, because on her shows, on Talk Heathen and other shows, when people call in, kids or others, and they talk about the horrible family that they have, they literally, if you don't have the means to leave, then it's best to kind of just abide by things and be safe. Your safety is most important. So she tell them to leave. Leave the home. If that whole town is toxic, you have to get out that town. I could probably find numerous clips of that. So I thought she would understand. And right now she's coming across as a hypocrite. Because if you can't stay in your home because they hate you because of a difference that's not harmful, then, and you can leave, then leave. But if your home's accepting but the town isn't, and your home could be in danger, you need to leave that town or that city. And if the city and the state is against you because of a whole bill that will affect the whole state, then why stay in that state? You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So that's in a full nutshell where I'm coming from. It's not a nutshell, it's a whole damn tree. But that's why I was saying what I was saying. I thought she would understand that. If your state is hurting you and you can find a viable state to go to, then go. Then go. That's if you can. Other than that, do the best you can with what you've got. And that's the culture we grew up in. Do the best you can with what you've got.
Mm-hmm.
That's our culture. We don't have that privilege of going into a bank and someone saying, okay, who's this person? Let's judge them up and down, because we can't just tell. No, we go to a bank. They look at us and say, well, shit. They already rejected us. We got to convince them to not keep rejecting us. That's the difference. And yeah, if you're a female, the bank is going to look at you and be like, it depends on what line of business you in. And that's very sexist to the line of business that you have to be in. For them to say, yeah, we'll consider you very much. It's very sexist. So I thought that this would have gone completely different. But it didn't. And someone could say, well, you done spent 20 plus minutes on this topic. But yet when someone like this is going to leap out and get frustrated and whatnot, and then just not even respond to the conversation, that kind of tells me a lot about that person. You don't disrespect the conversation by just not continuing it. And then saying agree to disagree, that's just a cop-out. That's weak. That's weak. Respect the conversation. Respect the person in it. And if that person in it is just trying to get at you and goad at you, you don't have to say we just agree to disagree. Just say, your attitude is not cool right now, and I don't want to further this conversation because you're becoming hurtful or something. Give a reason. That's what I would do. I wouldn't just, no, I ain't going to talk to him anymore. I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to respond because, they can infer, oh, well, obviously you think you better. They could do all kinds of stuff. And they could say that stuff, and you don't know who that one person is that they will say it to, that ultimately it will get back to you. Now, I'm not saying you should be living in fear. You should be living in decency. You got anything else to say?
Nope, I don't.
You have no closing thoughts on the whole thing?
I mean, you've covered everything. It's just that minorities can't just leave a state. Like you said, you have to deal where you are. And, most likely the ones being affected in Texas are going to be poorer whites. And they're not going to be able to just up and leave either.
Nope.
They're going to have to do what people have done for eons. Keep your damn mouth shut.
Fake until you make it. That's what they would have to do. Like I covered why there's so few, outed, that are out and open black atheists.
Mm-hmm.
I covered that. This is pretty much the same reason. So, with that said, it's been Sedrik and Sidra for Comparative Reasoning from Twitter to you. Thank you for listening.